It's interesting to note how the Wigan dialect favours certain categories or parts of speech. For instance, we have nouns, adjectives, verbs. A dialect tends not to have many words of their own for nouns because nouns lack poetry and expressiveness, and they tend to just borrow from standard speech with a slight derisive twist. Adjectives and verbs are another matter. So let's look at these nouns which are very easily recognizable.
Chimbley, Household, Homer, Sophie, Appa, Yed, Mardy.
Adjectives are a different matter. They allow dialect speakers to express themselves with feeling, all the more so in the local idiom.
Bowfight, Jigget, Bowset, Widdert, Bindert, False, Reaming, Fair, Wick, Sackless, Brosson, Dattle.
The Wigan dialect is extremely rich in verbs. Dialect speakers, often poor, energetic, men and women of action, used verbs forcefully, aggressively.
Mithering, Harming, Yammering, Pinking, Fradging, Slancing, Constirring, Manking, Yafting, Purr, Pale off.
Let's look at these rather powerful verbs inside sentences. Who's been mothering me all night? If I say out, who's not harming? There's no end of yammering in this house. Who's thinking that's I've go shopping? Who's always fradging with woman next door? I see there's been slancing again. There's a lot of constirring going on. Stop them hanking. Who's been jafting all week? Give him a purr. What it peeling off for? Dialects, especially in the use of adjectives and verbs, are admirable vehicles for conveying moods, states of mind. It is no accident that the emotive content of the Wigan dialect is often strongly disparaging, derogatory. The austere pits and mills of Wigan, the climate, isolation, hardship and poverty of Billinge bred a dialect with a ring of despair. The utter exhaustion of the miner at the end of a long day's work is conveyed by the words powfagged and jiggert. He would return home to a house of skriking, clemming kids, a mithering wife, fradging, jafting relations, probably slancing his hard-earned bread. He'd react, harming and constirring and give them a purr if need be. Can we part a man from the vehicle of expression of his rage? Sackless, mauling, me-mawing, gillet, ruser, pousy, wasty, and pown were other words used daily to vent his anger or displeasure. The richness of a dialect may often be seen by the compound nature of a word which cannot be replaced by a single word in standard speech. In Wigan speech, jaftin contains 4 elements. It means someone is going about from place to place. The moving about must take place out of doors. There is a social element of other people being involved, and the person jaftin must be enjoying himself. Take away any one of these 4 elements, and the word jaftin would not be used. Slansin means stealing, but the thing being stolen must be edible, and the word also conveys a surreptitious action. One also understands that not too much was taken, and that the accuser has partly forgiven the slancer. It is becoming clear that in order to explain fully one dialect word, one often has to resort to several sentences in standard speech. Take, for instance, the word mitherin. In order to tell a southerner exactly what is happening, one would have to say, a mitherer is a person who complains about something, who pesters us with it, who goes on and on about the matter, even though it be of no great importance, and even if there is nothing we can do about it. It is a bee in his or her bonnet, and the culprit is either moronic, ignorant, or simply getting senile. After a while, it gets on your nerves. Powfagged means exhausted, but in the expression, stop powfagging me, we have the extra meaning of being irritated. Sackless describes an uneasy, restless person, one who through physical or mental discomfort fidgets his way through the day, moves from place to place, never settles. The Lancashire tronner is a jack of all trades, a man who in his spare time makes himself useful about the house, turning his hand to all things, not necessarily a skilled man, but one who can fix anything. Dialect verbs, like verbs in foreign languages, are often irregular. The following table compares the conjugation of dialect verbs with standard speech conjugations. Heave, heaved, heaved.
Heave, hove, hoven.
Give, gave, given.
Give, gid, gen.
Speak, spoke, spoken.
Spake, spoke, spoken.
Get, got, got.
Get, geet, getten.
Beat, beat, beaten.
Bail, ball, bowl.
Take, took, taken.
Take, do, dead.
Burn, burnt, burnt.
Brun, brunt. Brunt.
Hide, hid, hidden.
Hide, wood. Wooden.
Eat, ate, eaten.
Ate, et, etten.
Say, said, said.
Says, said, said.
Sit, sat, sat.
Sit, seat, sitting.
While some of these variations look relatively harmless in print, they are extremely difficult for the stranger to understand when they are used at speed or in combination with other dialect words. Listen to the following sentences. Astofnum met thun. It was getting betum. I met to clod this pouse it flash. I dat hús fantnán. I stowed hús pownit bits. Hús pownit vanir out of shape. I met to thought I'd be teed lap up. I set axum what they pull off for. Another characteristic of the dialect is the intrusion of a Germanic N in the third person plural of the present tense of the verb. They say it's getting worse all the time. They han nout. They drinking their sell death. They tell what they want. They gin thee out their wants. They fawn all their sell telt thee. They sitting all day fragin. Those of us who have studied foreign languages know that English has discarded some forms which exist in French, German, and so on. One of these is the familiar form for you in the second person singular. The Wigan dialect has retained the familiar form for you. It is tha. The formal form for strangers and elders is yo. The full set of personal pronouns in Wigan grammar are a, tha, e, u, we, yo, they. Another feature the dialect has retained is the reflexive verb. In English, we say, I wash. As you perhaps know, in French, you cannot say, je lave. You have to say, je me lave. In the Wigan dialect, the reflexive pronoun is retained throughout the conjugation.
I wash me. Thou washes thee. He washes him. Who washes her? We wash us. You wash you. They wash them. Go and wash thee.
Other examples of Wigan reflexives are
Carry down. Hag thee. I unbethought me.
the fine verb to unbethink is used mainly in the past tense, but occasionally in the present, in a sentence like, "How'd they din why unbethink me?" Turning to relative pronouns, we have in Standard English a collection which consists of who, whom, whose, which, and that. In the Billinge Wigan dialect, there are only two: what and us.
This brass what can't. That's there's what thou wants. Monos come. When choose a seed? What's for then? He's told me about what he'd read. But sure me scones are baked.
These sentences show how what is used mainly for things and us for people. There's a story of two friends, Joe and Bert. Joe is writing a letter, and while he's writing the letter, he asks Bert,
How do spell wattle?
Bert asks, in what sentence?
And you know what'll go proper.
It's not wattle I wants, but uzzle.
There are a considerable number of key words in the Wigan dialect which defy comprehension on first hearing. Look at these examples. Bet, bent, a lot, et, mono, teed. Listen to this conversation in a shop. Have you any onions?
We unknown.
What does that mean?
It means we're bad.
How about potatoes?
We on a lot.
I'll buy a pound.
The tea take £2.
Teed?
They'll let buy 2.
All right. Have you any turnips?
Turmits? Harbour Estate, they'll look for 'em. The baby somewhere.
I'll take a couple.
I'm going to put 'em on flour.
The word bet is particularly tricky. Bet meaning without, and bet meaning probably. Listen to these examples. Who's bet left early? Who's gone bet her poss? Who's bet gone bet her poss? Whose bank come back for it? The double meaning of bet, besides the confusing bent, fools all southerners. Generally, dialects do not interfere much with prepositions, as they are essential to comprehension. So in the Wigan dialect, prepositions like on, under, in, at are used normally, like standard speech. One exception is that in some parts of Wigan, and especially in Billinge, the preposition of is replaced by on.
I have 2 turmits. How many does want?
Both of them.
Which one of you is from Manchester?
None of us.
Where did he find that box of matches?
He took it out in his pocket.
Another confusing word is leet, with its variants leith and least.
The leaf be somewhere. How does leaf go on? How does least now?